Which one of you hasn't enjoyed the offensive power of the Boston Celtics? Their record in offense is 17-7, with 5th place in terms of efficiency, and in this video we will review some of their main points, especially in the pick and roll they execute very well. Stay until the end of the video so you can appreciate every detail of the offensive technique of this great team. Before we get into today's video, make sure to subscribe down below and let us know in the comments that you did, and we'll respond to your comment. To begin, it's important to understand what their ball screen philosophy is, and it all starts from the idea that they want to gain an advantage for the ball handler before he gets the screen from the center. So here they'll run a double drag play, where Tatum is the first screener and Theis is the second screener, and Tatum will look to set a real screen and try to gain the advantage for fellow teammate Kemba. And here he sets a good screen for Justice Winslow, who trails Kemba. Once this happens, you see how Theis is rolling right to the basket. This is what they want. This is their philosophy. He doesn't set an actual screen on Winslow because now rolling early allows him to get out ahead of Kemba. And it makes the job of Myers Leonard much tougher to contain both the ball and the roll, and here Tyus gets a layup. Here's the exact same play we see Kemba has it. Tatum will set the first screen in the double drag, and Theis will roll quickly after not setting a screen. And here Kemba gets to the rim. Now, notably, the advantage the ball handler gains from the first, it doesn't have to be very significant. So here Jaylen Brown whiffs on his screen. But notice how the threat of the screen is enough for Kemba to get a slight edge on Della Vedova. Once Theis sees this, he's gone. He's rolling right to the basket, looking to get behind the defense. And the best way to really illustrate how valuable this quick and roll can be is to show you a play where the Celtics didn't execute well. So here Tatum, off of that first screen, gets a pretty clear advantage over Hernan Gomez. So what should Robert Williams do? He should already be rolling right to the basket, but instead notice how he sets an actual screen when it wasn't needed. Now it's Tatum who gets out in front of Williams, and this has a large chain effect. Plumlee can focus more of his attention on the ball. The weak side defenders can stay home on the shooters, all because Williams is out of a three-point line. And Tatum is forced to settle. Now let's briefly talk about some of their favorite actions and sets that they like to use to try to achieve this advantage, and one of their favorites is the double drag, which we've talked about. So here Kemba comes off the screen. Theis slips and rows early, and this draws in the attention of that weak side defender, and Kemba finds Brown for the open three. Here's a plain early offense where Marcus Smart will reverse it to Kanter, then he'll come and get the handoff back, and that he'll pitch to Kemba. So it's pretty much the same setup right here as the double drag, they just got into the play differently. Here they'll get into the action more on the sidelines, so they'll get to Tatum and he'll hand it off to Kemba. And then notice how he sets a slight rub screen for Kemba, and this does enough to gain Kemba a slight advantage, and then once Ty sees that, he rolls right to the rim, and here he gets it on the roll. For this next set, let's first watch it all the way through and appreciate the execution. So the main thing to notice here with this set is that it is the same setup. Tatum will be the first screener, and Theis will come in behind him, but the difference is, before they typically had one player in each corner. That is the traditional spacing, but here notice how they put two guys in the strong side corners, so they're overloading the strong side. This has an effect of clearing out the weak side, so now when Theis rolls hard to the basket, the only player in position to help on the weak side is Jimmy Butler, but Butler was not just involved in the action. He has his back turned and he's not ready to help, so that weak side tag that defenses utilize didn't happen here. And that's how the Celtics got a dunk against a good defense. Now it has to be known that Kemba really is the engine of the pick and roll attack, and most of the plays we've seen because this thing is the opposing big man in the pick and roll and is in a deep drop. Then Theis will notice at an actual screen, and Kemba can come off that screen and hit a three. He's such a good off-the-dribble three-point shooter that you have to respect this shot. So on this play, we see that Theis is able to roll out ahead of Holmes. And this is very beneficial, and the reason being able to do this is because Holmes has to come out high to defend Kemba, and that's what allows for the pass Theis here. Most teams don't have the luxury of having a guy like Kemba to draw the opposing big man out. So here, for instance, the Bulls run a pick and roll, and it's remarkable how Theis draws out ahead of the pick and roll, just like Theis knows in doing it. We see that he is in a deep drop taking that pass, and this is because he doesn't have to come out as high to guard Chris Dunn as he would Kemba, and manipulating this deep drop can be tricky, and here Dunn shoots a floater. The other factor that makes Kemba so good is just that he's so quick and shifty. So here they get into their double high ball screen and also will slip the screen, and it's not a very good slip. It doesn't gain Kemba any kind of advantage, and he's about to go into his screen with the center, but notice what he does. A simple between the legs crossover gets Garland out of position and gets Kemba to take advantage. So now Poirier doesn't have that screen, he can roll right to the basket. Thompson is not in a deep drop because Kevin can shoot so well, and that's what allows this alley-oop to happen. Now let's talk about the concept that they use, called the interior seal, and we'll start off by showing you an example of how they use it to attack and drop coverage, which, as we mentioned, can be tough to manipulate. So here Tatum has it in his left hand, and we see that Jokic is in a drop, so notice what Tatum does. He pulls his man to jail, slowing down, allowing this to roll ahead of him. Then Theis will seal off Jokic, allowing Tatum to go back to his right, and it gets a great shot at the basket. They use this concept all the time to attack drop coverage. When we see it again here, Tatum comes off of the screen that keeps Jimmy Butler on his back, putting him in jail. Theis rolls ahead of him to seal off Leonard, and it's a layup. And if we look back to this Bulls play, we see that they could have executed this to Dunn. Actually does put this man in jail, slowing down, allowing Gaffer to get ahead of the defense, so if Carford had screened and sealed off beyond Bow, that may have freed up a layup before. The other time they'll use the interior seal during the pick and roll is on a reversal. So here, Kemba and Theis run the pick and roll, and we see that Bogdanovic is in the lane looking to tag the Roman. And so on the skip over to Brown, he'll either have a chance to shoot it, or he can attack the closeout. And that's what he does here. He gets it, and he rips towards the baseline. And when this happens, what the Celtics love to do is to make Theis seal off the defensive big man, to create a lane for Brown, and here works perfectly as Brown gets a layup. This time, Harrison Barnes comes with an aggressive tag, so Tatum knows he can catch it and rip away toward the baseline. It's admirable how Theis is already sealing Holmes before Tatum makes a dribble. And this seal is really necessary because if Theis just stood there and didn't seal Holmes, then Theis would simply be in the way as Tatum drove right at him. But instead, Theis seals and Holmes actually tackles tight so the fool is on the floor. This works best when the pick and roll big man comes out high to contain the ball, which is what Holmes does here. So now when the ball is reversed, Holmes is vulnerable. He's out of position, allowing this to seal him off. And this is an example of a poor job by the Celtics. So it's pretty much the same situation. Smart catches it on the reversal, and we see that it is already looking to seal Holmes off. So if Smart quickly rips towards the baseline, he may have a layup. But instead, he decides to drive back toward the middle, which isn't a great idea for a few reasons. One, he's driving back toward the pass, and Bogdanovic, one pass away, could get a strip steal here. Also, he's making life much easier on Holmes. Instead of having to tackle Theis, now Holmes is in perfect position to help if he needs to. And here, he doesn't need to. Thanks for watching how the Celtics offense is humiliating NBA teams. Check out some of these other videos that appear on the screen. We're sure you'll love them. Make sure to subscribe and leave a like down below.